Hi there, this is Dr. Fatima Williams. I want to talk to you today about blind spots. That's right. You are a high achieving professional. You are likely the go to when your company is saying we need to get things done and they are looking for someone who is capable and able to get it done. They tap you on the shoulder. You are likely the one who is accustomed to kind of really toughing it out, even through the challenging parts of work, right? You know how to get things done, you know how to persevere, and still with that, you have blind spots that may be keeping you from actually being able to enjoy your work more and keeping you from having more success in your work. And by this, I really just mean it's making your work harder than it needs to be. And depending on how advanced you are in leadership, so likely if you're a senior leader, even C suite executive leadership, you will receive less and less candid feedback about your blind spots. All the more reason why it's important to have objective support, not just mentorship to help you to open new doors, but actually having objective support that will help you to identify blind spots so that you can be aware, personally aware, and strategic about how you address them. So, I'm going to talk about here about 5 blind spots that may be hindering your ability to do your work with ease and with confidence. Number one is being unaware of your leadership style and unaware of in that unaware of your strengths and unaware of your ticks. Right? We all have them. We all have them. There are ways that we manage conflict. There's ways that we communicate new information. There's ways that we galvanize teams. There's ways that we share and cast vision. All of these things are done with a style, right? And so when you don't really know your leadership style and how it is being received by the people who work with you, it can really create a blind spot that's creating friction there between you being able to actually get done the things that you need to get done, have successful relationships, and empower your team members to get the results you want. So the first blind spot is unawareness of your leadership style and the ticks that are associated with it, as well as sometimes the strengths. Typically, we'll know our strengths a little bit more, but we may not be as aware of the ticks. But let me say this too. Sometimes, and I've worked with people who've not been aware of their strengths. The challenge there with them is when they are in leadership roles and they can feel like they're floundering because they're not sure is what they're bringing enough. Are the skills, the experience that they're bringing, is it enough? Do I know what my strong suits are? And that can be even more challenging because you undermine yourself. When you don't have confidence in to move forward or an awareness of what you bring, you can undermine your own results and undermine your own successes. You can actually be sabotaging your own ability to move forward and do so well. And so this is all under blind spot number one is unawareness of your leadership style and how it actually is received by those who work with you. The second thing is you may be overcommitted to being an implementer. Now, what do I mean by this? If you are advancing through leadership, there are going to be things you have to let go. There are going to be things you have to let go of. I worked with one colleague who was a whiz, an absolute whiz at data analysis. When she came to me for coaching, she was being viewed for a senior leadership position, and that would mean that she would have to let go of some of the things that really she enjoyed the most and that she felt like she did better than others on her team. And here's the caveat, she actually did. She was the whiz. That's why she was being promoted because she did them so well. But now the role was really asking her to not be the one to continue to do it, but can you be the one to make sure that others who have that same skill set can do it at the quality and level that you do it? Can you guide others to use this same skill set to be able to do the strategic initiatives that we have? And so for her, it was a challenge to let go of the things that one, she enjoyed, two, she did very well, in order to exchange it for something else that really was something new for her, right? Leading more people, being the one to chart out the strategic vision for her department rather than the one to receive that vision from someone else and to be doing the work as an implementer, right? So that overcommitment to implementation, here's what it does: it keeps you still in your previous role and trying to do the new role. You can't do two jobs. And if we're honest, it's probably more than one job packed into both of those. So you can't do multiple jobs. You're going to have to let some things go. And that may be tasks, that may be ways of working, right? It may be you need to adopt new technologies or new strategies or new processes, whatever it is. Being committed, overly committed to the things of the past and the things that made you successful in the past or that were part of your role in the past are going to be a challenge, and that is a blind spot. Sometimes people won't tell you, they will let you work yourself to burnout. They will watch you work yourself to burnout because they don't know how to kindly, but also just kind of tell you, loosen the reins a little bit and try something new. The third blind spot may be underestimating the identity shifts that are happening as you take on this new responsibility. Let me be clear here. When you're taking on new responsibilities, again, by this I mean people and team leadership, greater visibility within your organization or in your industry, meaning people see you more as a go to and they're tapping you more for your information and insights and your leadership. And also greater responsibilities over strategy and directives. These things require a shift in your identity. It doesn't mean that you are someone new. You still are you authentically, but it taps into new parts of you, new ways of being, new ways even of managing your time. So you think about the person who is in higher levels of leadership, they don't have as much time for water cooler talk. They don't have as much time for the chit chat. They may be a bit more direct because they are clearer about where the organization needs to go. They're clearer about some of the gaps that they see. And so there's some shifts in your identity. And that also means that there's shifts in the ways that you're engaging with your colleagues and with your direct reports, especially if you have been promoted to a role where now you manage or lead people that you once were sitting beside as peer. Right. And so I know we don't always like to talk about hierarchy, and we, don't like to talk about change in identity. We don't want to feel like we're inauthentic. And what I'm saying here, this is not about inauthenticity. It is about change. Change in your roles and responsibilities means that there are going to be changes within you. Those things are not bad. It just means that you need to be aware of them because you may be sending mixed messages or confusing messages to the people that you work with. One day you're peer and you're chit-chatting with them and you're gossiping with them or complaining with them, and then the next minute you need them to kind of take your directives and move forward with information that they may not like or enjoy, but you need them to do. It can be confusing. You have to recognize a blind spot, baby, that your identity has shifted and you have not shifted with it. Fourth thing, failure to take stock of your personal goals inside of the bigger picture of the work that you're doing. What am I saying here? This is the space where martyrdom can set in, or where overwork and self sacrificing can set in, because you see the work that's under your purview to do. You know what you've been hired and asked to do that's at this new level of responsibility, but you haven't decided who you are inside the work. You have not decided what your personal goals are and your personal approaches for how you want to handle this work. So you just dive in indiscriminately, just doing the work. This isn't a call and an invitation with this blind spot to take stock of what are your personal goals? What do you want to see happen and your legacy with this project or this work to be? That way it helps you to kind of decide who you are, how you focus within this volume and complexity of work that you have. And the fifth blind spot is, and this one is going to be very practical and one that people unfortunately overlook and has real consequences for your home life, your personal life, your social life. It is overlooking just how much your new responsibilities really contribute to a new schedule for you. So, simply put, at this level of leadership and responsibility that you have, or managing new projects, new people, new teams, new things, or additional things, it requires more of your time, more of your mental bandwidth, more of your energy, right? So I'm not saying that you have to work longer hours, but there are the demands are different on your time. When you don't realize that, you actually don't plan for it. And so when I'm coaching people who are either recently promoted or the complexity of their role has changed, they are desperate to get ahead of it so that they're not steamrolled by it. One of the key things that we do is what I call peak low season calendaring. So we're charting out those peak low seasons at work and at home so that we can calendar out their full year. There's a process for it that helps you to determine how this is going to affect your year. And then we also look at your day-to-day practices, what things need to shift in that. So the caveat here for you with this fifth and final one is being honest with yourself about how this new role or how these new responsibilities are changing your relationship to your free time, your schedule, the things that you're able to do at home that you were able to do before but are not anymore. This can look like anything from elder care, if you're caring for an elderly parent or caring for children, your availability for that may change. It also looks like your exercise routine. It may need to change if you actually want to keep it. You may need to go earlier, or you may need to set it as your after work activity. It may be like one client of mine, she purchased popular exercise bike, and that would be what she did for lunch. She would have a healthy lunch as a work from home person, and then move to her Peloton as a way to boost her energy midday. Whatever works for you, but we have to be honest about how these new responsibilities are shifting your relationship to time, how much time you have, how much energy you have, and the inputs that you're able to make in your home life and in your personal life. So these blind spots are going to be things that people may not share with you, or you may not actually see, especially as you're moving up in levels of leadership and you receive less and less critical, honest feedback, right? Because people are afraid to give you feedback because either they want to please you or they don't want negative repercussions. They want to be sure the relationship stays good and that they're on your good side. So we want to be sure that you are aware of these blind spots. And that's what coaching can support you to do, is not only be aware of them, but then also how to address them and which ones of them need to be addressed, and in what way. And so I'd like to hear from you. Which of these blind spots stand out to you? Or are there other ones that you've seen that you have worked on? I would love to support you in coaching. Our availability for one-on-one coaching is open. We have strategy intensives, which are 1 day deep dive sessions where we do basically your personal strategic planning with you in this session, and there's follow-up throughout the month with you. So this is for those who want to have deep dive strategy support as they're transitioning into more responsibility or trying to get a better handle on the responsibilities they have. And then executive coaching is more walking together over time in a coaching relationship. Both of these options are available. And in fact, some people who are moving into executive leadership will do both. We start with a deep dive and then we move into a longer term relationship. So I'd love to hear how we may be able to support you in really being able to do the work that you want to do and do it in a way that has ease and confidence to it. I do not believe that purpose should overrun you and purpose should overtake you. We want to be able to put work in its place.